and as always, deeply honored and humbled that you've taken some time to just be with us this morning as a small community stretched, frankly, across the world. And again, most of you will be watching this archive, but for those of you joining us live or archive, irregardless, it's wonderful to have you as part of our little morning community today. So, what we're going to talk about today is where do we find the meaning of life? And it's been interesting looking in this book, Secrets of Heaven, and looking at this idea how truth recognizes goodness, how goodness recognizes truth. And, the opposite can be said as well. Like falsity will also recognize evil. Evil will also recognize falsity. Like they're always twinned up, so to speak. A simple example would be, if we come from a loving perspective, we'll truly see who another person is. We'll see the truth of that other person. And if we're coming from a not so nice place, from a real angry place, we're going to see a very different truth about that person. And so it's perspective, and perspective and recognition are very, very important to keep in mind all the time. And we want to be choosing, obviously, the former, more positive things rather than the negative ones. And part of choosing that positive thing comes to today's question, which is where do we find the meaning of life? And it's so easy to think of it in this big way. What is the meaning of life? That big question. And good question to pose, but it's not going to get us to it because it's just too big. Where it's so big. What is the meaning of life? Okay, I could come up with an answer of that. I think it could be probably a decent answer, but that's not where God's asking us to live. God is not asking us to live in the big grand questions of things. God's asking us to live like right here, right now. So when we're trying to figure out like that big meaning of life, the way to really think of it is how can I be curious, or what does curiosity look like, or what does the meaning of life look like today, this morning, in an interaction you're going to have today? What can be meaningful there? Meaningful right in that moment. And that's where, again, like it's this truth recognizing goodness, which we read about from the book Secrets of Heaven. It's this truth recognizing goodness, goodness recognizing truth. It's where we're able to love in the moment, and we're able to recognize what's there. And I was thinking, it's when we're coming from a loving place and we see somebody, we start to see the truth of that person because we have loving eyes. It's really this art of discovery in the moment where we really are like, oh, I don't have to go into this conversation thinking like, how do I have a deeply meaningful conversation? How do I make this as meaningful as possible? I think we can sort of take a breath there, lower our shoulders, and just let the moment be, and know that there is meaning there. And can we find that meaning there? And sometimes it'll be very apparent, sometimes not so much. But I think we're much more likely to find meaning when we come at it with curiosity versus the idea that we're the manufacture it. It's kind of like telling a little kid, try to go to sleep and try to do it harder. It doesn't work so well. And it's the same with meaning. Just know that it's there, watch for it, be curious about it, be in that moment. So the gist of it is it's a pretty simple concept, right? We have this big brush, this big concept around what is the meaning of life, right? And then we need to drill down more. What is the meaning of life today? What is the meaning of life in this interaction? How can this interaction be more meaningful? And it's something, again, I would urge us all to just be open to the incredible miracle of the moment, the miracle of the moment. You're going to have dozens of them today, and some of them will be very ordinary, but just chock full of meaning and the beauty of that. And that's where I think, I want to close with this. I think that's why, the biblical passage that's so important, and we hear it quoted all the time because I think it's absolutely one we can hang our hat on, so to speak, is this one. So a breath. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day. Like, this is it. This is what we have right now, right here, right now. We all know that. God's created it. It's good, and God looks out at creation, and his two differentiators are good and very good. I think we go at life that way. This is the day the Lord has made. It's a good day. It's a good day, and we can rejoice. And the idea of we can celebrate it, or the word rejoice. If anyone who's watched Nature's Life for a long period of time, this is one of our little favorite sermons. Is the word rejoice in Greek could also be defined as thrive. We can thrive. We can thrive here and right now. There's not a need to push it off into the future. There's not a need to think in 1,000 years. It doesn't mean we don't plan for the future or we don't make strategic decisions around the future. That would be absolutely not prudent. If we weren't doing that, it's a really healthy thing to do that. And we always have to come back to like, all right, what God really wants us is to thrive here and now. Now, do we have days where that's impossible? Days of loss and despair? Absolutely. But we also will have some time this weekend just to be like, I'm just going to thrive in this moment because that's what God asks of me. I'm going to come from a loving place, and that's going to help me to recognize the truth of others. And when I recognize the truth of others, that's going to help me come from a loving place. This beautiful synergy of recognition, that mutual recognition that takes place. So, friends, I hope that makes a lot of sense. I think that biblical quote sure is pretty darn cool and a great little mantra to live by this particular weekend. So, with that, dear friends, what we're going to do now is then we're going to shift gears. And when we shift gears at New Church Live, we take a little breath and we listen to a prayer bell. We do a little meditation, a little prayer, a little blessing, and then we will say hi to friends who've joined us on Facebook. So, first off, let's just get a little breath and the prayer bell. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's get a quick little cheery hello here. All right, so let's see here. We're in the office today, the college office. All right. Well, technology is not our friend today. So anyhow, sorry about that, friends. Just please leave a written comment, and we will gladly take a look at it. And then just a final note today, just a quick note about how much we appreciate your support of New Church Live. Like our content, it's funded by viewers like you. Please consider becoming a sustaining supporter of New Church Live